flippin' sweet arcade, right? Well, you're going to get to see more of it in just a little bit. I just wanted to give you a quick hello, ask you to please subscribe down below. I guess it's down here somewhere. And thank you for watching. So without further ado, let's check out this flippin' sweet arcade. Okay, so let's take a look at Periscope. Periscope is actually a really cool game. It is the very first game ever to cost $1. It came out in 1965, released by Namco and Sega, though Sega claimed to have the better version. The 25-cent cost per play actually remained the same for a very long time, and I'm sure that's what they cost to play when you were a kid. Okay, so let's take a look at the later version of this game. So this version of the arcade is the one that we're going to focus on, and it's the one that I redid, actually. This is called Subroc 3D, and Subroc 3D is a really, really cool arcade machine. You see that pedestal there? You actually slid that out, stood on that, and put your eyes up to a special periscope eyepiece that would make the arcade game appear in 3D. There's a little bit of a screenshot, the best you can get, and you would move the eyepiece with the one handle around and try to shoot both underwater submarine targets and above the water airplane targets with a button that you switch back and forth with. So this machine was a really, really cool machine at the time. But the one that I actually got was not in good shape. And I'm going to show you a couple of pictures of the machine that I redid, the actual cabinet. There are a couple cool features that made me want to redo the cabinet, and we'll talk more about those later. So let's check it out. So this is the machine that I actually picked up. I got this machine on Facebook. The cabinet is basically all I was buying, and it cost me $40. So this thing was in absolutely terrible condition. It would power on, but the computer or the JAMA that was in here, the board that made the game work, was removed. The person that I bought this cabinet from, the only reason they even wanted it was to remove that and sell on eBay. So I picked this up for 40 bucks and decided to restore it. Now, normally I wouldn't want to restore something that's going to take such a long time like this, but this is a special cabinet, and I wanted to do something that would be a tribute to this special cabinet. So I told you about the bottom portion that you slide out that was all rotted apart. Well, that step was actually not even in there. So the first thing I needed to do was go ahead and slice off the bottom of this cabinet. I did this with a router. It was not simple, but it came out pretty darn well. I completely gutted the machine and removed all the accessories, hardware, and went to work drilling holes for the new button pattern, painting, totally sanding down, gluing together, reinforcing this super cool cabinet. This machine was not in good shape, like I said before, so I had a lot of restoration to do. Totally replaced everything. You'll see the light up there. I had installed that, and the monitor crossbars it in. All the holes are drilled, and it was time for me to figure out how to aim the projection for the light pattern that I wanted to put on this machine. The issue that I was running into is I needed to be able to project the pattern in a way that it was not going to interfere with playing of games and your monitor viewing angle. The monitor placement was one of the most difficult things, but we'll get more into that later. This is the inside of the cabinet, completed and with the back removed so that you can see all of the interior parts. You may have seen the hole in the game board earlier, and that was for this very special touch that I did where I'm actually laser etching my company name, Miller Gaming Company there, and allowing light to shine through the bottom of that laser etching. I've got LED color changing lights in there, and I'll show you more of that later, but this is my favorite feature that I did on this cabinet. Without further ado, let's go ahead and see what the finished product looked like. Drum roll, please. Pow! There it is. The flippin' sweetest cabinet ever made, I'm telling you. So I tried to keep lots of stuff original. This was to pay tribute to the cabinet. So I told you guys a little bit about this being a special cabinet. The reason why this is a special cabinet, at least to me and my family, is because this cabinet was owned by Disney. One of the really cool parts on it is you'll see right here we've got a prop number. Prop number 45,382. That is, of course, going to be left on. I'm not going to take that off. And you'll be able to tell people, look, this was an arcade machine that was at Disney for many, many years until it was later bought at auction, and I decided to restore it. So I redid everything. I touched up all the paint. I actually had that white color matched, and went through and redid the painting. I redid just absolutely everything. Here, you'll see where the coins used to actually reside, and this is the coin meter. So you see 54,730 games were played, and it took tokens. You probably got 4, maybe 3 tokens for $1. So this machine was with that 25-cent standard. That's where you turn it on. That's where the original power switch was. And I wanted to leave that all the same. Haha, you'll see the Miller Gaming Company. That's what happens when you start it up. You just push one button, everything comes on all at once, and it's amazing. So it has all kinds of lights and everything in it, like I said, but they don't keep you from seeing the monitor. Now I'm getting some weird glare from the outside plexi, but you don't need to worry about that. In person, you don't see that. The angle that you're standing, which I'll show better in the video a little bit later, you don't really have your view inhibited by anything. The lights don't get in your way. You can see there's not any glare on the monitor. There's a tiny bit you see at the top of the plastic, but that's it. The monitor looks great. If you want to do any adjustments or anything, I turned the coin door into your access door. So you go right on in here. The system is to the left there with that big fan on top. And you have some USB ports. I don't know if you saw those. And this is the Kinter amplifier. I think it's a 70-watt amp. I've got it running into the original speakers, which were the only working thing in the machine. All right, so this remote control is the remote control that controls your projector. It's the one that gives that really cool water effect. I'm gonna go ahead and hit it blue, because this is the intended color. This is the color that I wanted the machine to have. The intent here was to pay tribute to the machine, it's a submarine machine, by making the monitor appear as if it was floating in water. So did I do a good job? Does it look like the monitor's in water, like you're looking inside there? I don't know if it actually looks like it's really water, but if you see all that movement up there, it looks really cool. The light doesn't get in your way of playing a game or anything. I'm super happy with how it turned out, and it really is nice. So the Miller Gaming Company logo, here it is, changing colors like I was telling you about before. That's the one that's laser etched. I had to do a mirror etching from the bottom. That's kind of all I'm going to tell you about that, but, you know, I'm pretty proud of it. We'll just go ahead and kind of do some different angles and pan around here. Give you some looks at the cabinet. One of the trickiest things to figure out was how to get the light to be everywhere, but on the monitor screen. So I did a lot of angling and testing and reconfiguring and finally got it right for somebody. The perfect height for this thing is probably 5'10", but it looks good up to maybe 6'2", 6'3", and you can still play it if you're taller than that, but it's not going to have the best angle. So between maybe 5'7", 5'5", even maybe 5'5", and 6'2" to 6'3", you're going to have a really good angle with this. This is the RetroPie menu. From here, you're going to be able to make all kinds of adjustments, add Wi-Fi, passwords, and Bluetooth controllers. Really go ahead and go in there and tweak your RetroPie system. I said it in my last video. Oh, this is where I was seeing if it would switch while I was making the video, but it didn't. As I said in my last video, these games are all totally free. What you guys are paying for is the SD card. It's 128 gig. All those games are on it. And the curation of all of the ROMs, all of the time that I've spent on those ROMs. As far as games, that's all you're really paying for is my curation. These games are all totally free and easily accessible to anyone with a simple Google search online. Search it, download them, it's great. Anyways, the main value here is in this super cool Resto-mod cabinet. Now that's a new sort of term, calling it a Resto-mod cabinet, but I think that fits really well because that's what it is. You know, it's not exactly a new cabinet, even though it looks and plays like one. It has all of the features that you want on any new home cabinet and more, just because it's so cool looking. So I think Resto-mod works. It's a cabinet with brand new modern components, like a car, an old classic car with brand new modern components, and it drives just like a brand new arcade because that's what's inside. All right, let's take a look at the arcade screen. So here's the arcade screen. Come on down, and we're gonna pick just a game to play at random. And let me fast forward a little bit for you. Cool, and now we'll go ahead and get started with everything else. So, launch this, you see a little loading game menu pop. It's super fast to load, and I'll show you a couple of the other features of this cabinet, or how it works essentially. So if you want to insert a coin, super easy, you hit the select button, please insert coin. All right, here we go, pop, 2 coins in, and then the button that was beside it is the start button. I hit that, mission 1, America, and we'll play these. I should go in that weapon shop, but I bet you I'm not going to. All right, do a little fighting, a little shucking and jiving. I'm still, you know, I didn't see that in blinking there. I don't know why not, but, you know, whatever. Anyways, so you saw me push those 2 buttons. That's the select and start button. If you push those 2 buttons together, it takes you out of whatever game you're playing and pops you right back in the menu. No matter what's happening, you just hit those 2 buttons and you're back into the menu. So let's try maybe one more game. In the meantime, so you go over here and you pick your game, right? And then you can look on this side of the screen and it gives you previews of the games that you're playing, as well as a short description. All right, so that one looks pretty cool, I think. And I'm ready to play. Just hit the button and pop, you're right up into it. Now, every time that a game is loading, it's kind of just like the first time that arcade machine would have been started up back in 1970 or 80 something. See, it's got the RAM OK stuff there. So it's kind of cool. It's like you got a new arcade every single time you turn it on or turn some of the RAMs on, or the ROMs on, excuse me. All right, so we'll add some credits, hit the start button, everything works just as it should, and every single game is pretty much like that. It's all working just as it should. The screen format is going to look really good in most cases. Where I could get it to fill the whole screen and not look crazy, that's what I did. Some of them I couldn't get it to be perfect, but it's still playable. Either way, the majority of these games are going to behave perfectly. Some of them not perfectly. That was me playing with one hand. Some of them not perfectly, but it's going to be really fun, and you're not going to tell much of a difference. All right, so I'll go ahead and finish up this little bit of fun gameplay here. This actually is a pretty fun game. I'm going to remember this one, play it later for sure. And we'll show you another look at the cabinet. That's part of the cabinet that I matched that white paint to. I bet you couldn't tell very well, could you? It looks, I think I did a pretty good job. So there's the outside of her. She's a beaut. It is a standard cabinet height right at 72 inches, 6 feet tall. It doesn't weigh as much as you would think, like the old cabinets, because it doesn't have the big monitor and all those bulky components inside. So it's really not hard to transport. This cabinet is for sale. It is $1,699. Message me now to buy it. Somebody's going to buy it soon. Thank you so much for watching. See you next time.